How to get no doc business loans up to 2 million, 5 million, perhaps 150 or 250,000. 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. How about the revenue range of what you currently produce and what you can actually get, as well as much more in this video, giving you updates perhaps on EIDL, PPP, employee retention tax credit, and also something very cool and new and exclusive where you can get 2% on all fundings that you refer. So if you refer somebody else and they receive funding like you did, then you can earn a percentage of that. Hi, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. Welcome in. Happy Monday. Hopefully you've had a great morning/afternoon. And as we get into the evening, if you are on the Eastern Standard Time, I'm on Pacific Standard Time here in Washington State, not DC. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Are you taking a break from work? Are you at home? Are you in your pajamas still? Are you out getting groceries? You got your headphones in and you're like, this Michael guy came on. I was just skimming through on TikTok. Or hey, he had appeared online. I'm going to go ahead and see what he's all about and what he's doing. So it's been a great weekend that we just went through. Been doing a lot with family over the last week or so. And I took a bit of time yesterday to watch a little bit of football. I'm not a big football fanatic, but the San Francisco Dallas Cowboys game, just a bit of that. I didn't really watch the whole thing. Just sat back, relaxed a little bit towards the later evening part. Had some good food, spent some time with family. And today, I am full gear, ready to go. And this is a Monday, and I'm streaming here on the TikTok channel. Perhaps you're watching it somewhere else later on, like an Instagram, maybe on YouTube as a replay. I'll probably put that there. And you can refer to the description down below, as well as in the bio. Usually on TikTok, sometimes it doesn't display the link for some reason. It's not only done it to me, but to others. But you guys can revisit or visit viralfundingsolutions.com and learn more about myself, who I am, and how I can really help you as an expert business loan broker. But let me jump right into things. And as you're commenting, I'll go into the comments. So what I want to address first is the issue business owners have, not with no-doc business loans per se. I'll get to that in just a minute. Stick with me, please. It's that you're just trying to search for things that really don't exist. And when you think you find something, you have to be careful. I had a meeting with my lenders and underwriters. By the way, I've vetted the best underwriters and lenders in the space. You have to be careful about just submitting your information to someone. I had somebody on, Sunday? I literally was in a hot tub, like in the bathtub, because that's how I do things on a Sunday. Sometimes to just relax, decompress, get ready for Monday again, relieve my mind. I'll go on I ran earlier that day. I went to the track, longer day, relaxed in the tub for a little bit under some Epsom salts and did really well there. But I had somebody who sent me a Facebook Messenger, and they were talking about how they were being looked at for an SBA 7A loan, but they had denied them based on credit and delinquencies or a few things. And I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't look like you have that after what you've been telling me. There might be something more extensively to look at. But they weren't happy with the service. They were not happy with the communication. And it was bombarded. And it just is not something you want to do. After I found out who they went through, it was an online marketplace. Even if it weren't an online marketplace and it were a direct lender, you have to be careful about who you go through. That's why you can't always go through the SBA.gov site, or can't just type in best business loans and find the first article that appears because they say that's the best, and you don't discover more. You got to ask a business loan broker expert. Don't just give your information. And this is going to apply to no-doc business loans in just a second. So do not just get your information and say, what does it hurt? I'm just going to go ahead and give them my information, and then a robotic answering machine gives you a response back, or it could be an individual, but it usually isn't the best. And I had this meeting with my lenders and underwriters about how many times people do come to me and they don't realize it in the beginning. And even after I've given them everything and they've seen the perceived value, I do it correctly, that they still want to do things their way because it goes into how much they can actually get approved for. So be very careful. Getting your application put everywhere and anywhere can hurt your credit. Even if they tell you soft inquiries, there might be hard inquiries. Soft inquiries are that. And you have too many of them, other lenders won't look at you. The ones that are most serious. That's why you think, okay, this is the best lender, A-tier lender. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the one you should go with. This one over here can get you more maximum funding at better terms, at better rates. But you've already applied here, and you're underneath the perception that that's what's best. You have to be careful, direct lender or indirect. And again, I've vetted the best, so that's why people come to me, and because people know me. when you get to see my story, I might talk about it at the end. No doc business loans. Do those exist? I mean, the no doc part, but the business loans, and even if you're saying no doc business loans with bad credit, no doc business loans with no revenue, with bad revenue, no collateral, you can twist it in many ways you want. But no doc and business loans do not go together. If you're looking for no doc funding, right? Funding and business loans, two different terminologies, then you're looking at more of a credit line hybrid program where you can liquidate the cash out of these credit cards and use them for any investments you choose. Perhaps you've heard of this, you've been on it. I had actually somebody today I got to get back to that they sent me a text. Plenty of people did today. I've been just on my activities, so once I get back to you, I will. But they've been telling me, hey, I have been in part of this program. I know somebody that I'm with and so forth. But you want to get into business credit card stacking. That's what it is. It's not a business loan. Yeah, but I heard about no doc business loans. Yeah, who's telling you that? I might have a video or I might have a blog post that says no doc business loans already, which I can actually look at right now. It's right there. I'm looking at it. And it doesn't mean that that's true. It just means come and view the content, learn that there might not be any no doc business loans, but there are credit cards you can stack. Use business credit cards, guys. Differentiate personal and business. I'm not going to get too far into that right now, but making sure you separate the two and getting access to vendor credit, installment loans, credit lines, it's all going to help you. If you're looking for like 60, 70,000, but you haven't even established business credit yet, you can't even go in and apply for a business credit card and even get a minimum of 5,000, 10,000. It's all about optimizing, and that's what I help people with. I can tell you guys, go down the list right now of all the people who've already have signed up to get their business credit established with me, as well as build it, vendor credit, A tier, B tier, C tier, whatever tier you have to build into, you got to work your way in. So no doc business loans is referring to, again, a credit card stacking program, not personal, but business credit cards, Chase credit cards, Wells Fargo. I know Chase has the 5 rule, but you want to get different business credit cards from different banks, online, offline, and then be able to add limits like 10,000, 20,000. I have right now a real estate investor who just did that through me. And I shared with them what they should do if they went into the bank. Just provide information if they ask for it. They normally wouldn't, but at least you have it on hand. You have that business plan and you know what you'll want to do with the property. So what you do is, okay, you got approved for 10,000 here. You got approved for 20,000 there. Now you have 30,000 combined, and literally you can get in without supplying any financials. No bank statements, no year-to-date profit and loss balance sheet the last 2 years like we would collect with an SBA loan. Just some more documents like AR/AP report, a personal financial statement, a business statement, with assets and liabilities, of course. And at times they may ask for those bank statements only because you already run a business, and it could work to your favor, not to your detriment a lot of time. Even though your revenue's probably gone backwards a bit, they're not going to base it off that entirely. They're going to look at what you've already established underneath your personal credit, how many or how much total you have in personal credit, how many personal credit cards. They can normally get you 5 times that amount total. And if not, they'll give you equal to. Just depends on your credit history. Have you been making your payments? Are there any late payments, delinquencies, bankruptcies, foreclosures? These things do arise, so you have to understand. And again, I'm helping people do this churn every single day because they listen. And if you are a startup, you better open up your ears to me right now. And I'm an introvert, right? God gifted me with big ears, so I'm a listener more than anything. Big eyes, big ears, big nose. And so, humbly, respectfully saying this, if you're looking for like 600,000, whatever the amount is, and you haven't even achieved any revenue into your business, then you have to be looking at these options like this. Incorporate, get into an LLC, S Corp, C Corp. If you have to start as a sole proprietor, 1099, independent contractor, gig work, whatever that is, so be it. There are still ways of getting access to business credit cards. Now, when you're building your vendor credit, I would definitely assume and want to say get into those types of entities. Although you can, but it's going to be much harder to, and approval odds for other services of business loans and business funding will be much harder. So you don't have to literally supply bank statements, those financials or year-to-dates, tax returns. A lot of the time you don't have to. You can just go ahead and apply when you have stronger credit. And that is a 680 and above on all 3 consumer credit bureaus to get into the credit line hybrid. So if you're somebody who's like, well, I'm sitting at 620, 650, I can get approved for a business credit card. Well, yeah, I've been there. But the difference is in how you use these cards to your advantage and your approval amounts. and then how fast you can get more approval amounts. Ask for more soft pulls instead of hard inquiries once you establish something like that with like an American Express. And there are a few other ones. I'm not going to get into naming them. But minimal inquiries, I'm not going to go down the whole list right now, but I'll leave more information of this down below in the description as well as in the bio. Make sure you check up on what this 0% interest for 6 to 18 months program is in time once it's there. I could have opened it up here and gone through every little bit in detail of it, but I'll leave a post for you down below. Actually, I might bring it up 1 second. I'll come to the comments. Okay, so let me just run through some benefits of this and then we'll transition into other funding. So this gives you a 24-hour pre-approval, and I've gone through this myself, so just so you know, I'm somebody who actually practices what they preach. I don't know if you guys ever hear about people out there who just share information, but they actually go through this? I've received funding myself. I just have like a little shockwave there, here, because I understand where you're coming from. I had no revenue for about 1.5 years, literally like sufficient revenue, building my online business. If you can sustain that but build yourself, everybody wants instant gratification. I learned after that first year, like I had to learn learn how to differentiate myself from that, and allowing that to be patient. So for those of you in here who are like, just give me a loan, I can tell you how many times people come to me or like, give me a loan. I'm a business owner / entrepreneur, just in case you didn't know this, but I'm somebody who loves to solve harder problems. I like mathematics, I like systems, I like the two. That's how my brain works. And so when you come to me with that stubbornness, maybe that arrogance, that ego, that way of just your attitude, we got to leave that out the door when we go into an application. If we haven't worked on it to get that out, like before we step in, I don't want to have to go with somebody who's like just so much trouble. Right now, I have somebody who's like just emailing me, and I'm like, right away, once they emailed me, I went in there right away. I said, hey, did you even look at the email that I sent you? Boom, done. It wasn't even a yes or a no answer when they gave me an answer back. So 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. Business credit card can also be used to help you qualify, or business credit, I should say, vendor credit. Flexibility, you can use the funds to do what you need to do for your business. Even startup businesses, they do qualify, non-startup too. True no-doc financing program. Application of funding, it can take 3 weeks or less because this is more credit-based. There's another alternative. There's like a personal loan that can take 1 to 2 weeks to fund. About 24-hour pre-approval, 1 to 2 weeks to actually receive your funds. This is credit-based again, guys. It takes a little bit more time. It can be like collateralized options, but collateralized may be a little bit longer sometimes, 2 to 4, if not a little bit longer than 4 weeks, because there has to be an appraisal done. Depends on the type of collateral, of course, real estate. So application of funding in 3 weeks or less, no upfront application fee, no application fee. Credit approvals are up to $150,000 per individual. It can be up to $250,000 as well once you start working on your corporate credit. There are no collateral requirements. Ability to use the credit partners if you want to qualify. So if you're somebody who comes to me and goes, hey, Michael, but I have a 620 FICO credit score, my Experian credit score, and then you can give me reasoning behind why it is. It helps. And then you're like, well, I want to actually work on increasing it. I know that if I make these payments on the due date, before the closing date, or on this, I bring it down to at least $1, my score will go up from a 620 to about a 670. I may need to do a little bit of work to get to a 680. Fine. But if you need a form of credit repair because that's what's going up and down for you, or either way, I can help you. I have the best in the personal credit game. I know that. I have a personal and business relationship with him. And I used to do this stuff myself with software too, but I have to focus on the funding. But literally, I can give him a call anytime I want. He's not like he's going to pick up right away because we get busy. But I can just send him a quick text message. Hey, Steve. And then boom, boom. Or I can send him an email. He even did a testimonial video of me the other day. I'm very thankful and grateful of. Maybe I can share it with you guys sometime. But I spoke great about him and what he's done. And he actually returned the favor and put it in a video format. So again, I'm very appreciative and one of the best in the industry, if not the best. And you guys don't want to just go to anybody and everybody. Like I have the Rolodex of people, guys. So just so you know. So you could get a guarantor, get somebody else. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a spouse, friend, or a family member who can trust you. First, you have to establish that. You can't just say, hey, can I get on your credit and get these trade lines and get this joint account? Like, You're not even trustworthy to make your own payments. Why would I want you to have? Why would I want you underneath my own account? I would do the same thing. Be like, can you at least prove yourself for the first 1 to 2 months, and then we can come back? Like, I wouldn't give you a week. I wouldn't give you 2 weeks to just pay whatever you have off. I want to know you can do this over months and more. No cash flow requirements. That's a great thing too. Can help you build or improve your business credit score. Obviously it does. It's helped me. Many don't report to the personal credit. Some will. Qualifications, as I said, 680, all 3 consumer credit bureaus. You can't have liens, judgments, bankruptcies, or late payments. I don't really have to look at this to go through it, but I don't want to miss anything. In the past 6 months, you have to have less than 5 credit inquiries. And that's 6 months. That's not 3 months. And we're saying credit inquiries in overall, soft, hard. So be very careful about what you're doing. And what I would recommend is not having more than 3 inquiries per credit bureau to begin with. I mean, you're already at 9 there, but just be careful. That's why you have to know where you are applying. Don't just go and say, well, I heard of this online marketplace, or I heard about this lender. Even if you're already underneath that lender, people come to me every day because I know I can outcompete them. And I know I can do better for them. And there's a better long-term success for that. And where we need to move up to, because they're not doing it in a way that's maximized. Have less than 45% balance on all business and personal credit cards. Best to have business credit established, but it's not necessary to start, as well as personal credit helps. Qualifications continued, 680 as I said. Credit card 3 years old with a $5,000 limit must be a primary card. Minimum of 2 open revolving accounts within a year and a half of good payment history. Under 40% utilization on all revolving accounts, that's total. No more than 4 unsecured accounts opened in the past 12 months. No more than 4 to 6 inquiries per bureau in the last 6 months. Have preferably less. No bankruptcies within the past 7 years. No open unpaid collections, liens, or judgments, and there could be a bit more, like recently new open trade lines, and you don't have strong credit history already, so you just opened up something, derogatories, chargebacks. But when it's credit-based, guys, you can see the bankruptcy years, and we look at an SBA loan, we look at least 5 years, or no recent in the last 3 years. So this is 7. So it's an uptick because it is credit-based, and there are more things that will come along. So this article or this video that you can go ahead and check out will go into it even more in depth. I just gave you just a little bit, but that's the no-doc part. No-doc business funding, not no-doc business loans. Because what lender, what person in their right mind is going to give you $100,000, $10,000, and even just $5,000 to begin with, $1 million, if you cannot even prove that you can service that debt? Does that make sense to you guys? Like, when you heard this, you're like, of course. How else are we going to make the payment? You could tell me all day long, I'm going to be projecting if I have startup money, I'm going to be making $50,000 in the next 2 months. Great, that's your business plan. I can see it. Let me look at it. All right, it looks solidified. It looks good. But you don't have history. You don't have a pattern because you heard it from a friend or a family member. You worked underneath that business. Doesn't mean you'll be able to do that. Market conditions, overhead and expenses come up. Revenue dips, fluctuations. Your credit gets impacted. You're taking on a lot on your credit, like we all do when we start our own business. I've been there. And so what you have to understand is if you can't prove your income in one way or another, whether it's a personal / startup loan, the credit line hybrid, other forms of financing out there, like equipment loans, even equipment loans, if you're a startup, you don't have to because we won't have it, but you have to have the down payment. You're going to be getting closer to 20 to 30% down payment, especially if you have worse off credit. So think about these things and go, well, of course, there's no such thing as no-doc personal or no-doc business loans. Well, what do I do then? What's the closest thing you can get? There are 3. There's the cash flow part of this equation, there's the credit, and then there's the collateral. Which one of the 3, 2, or 3 of the 3 you fall into? Do you have stronger cash flow? You can leverage your business, bank statements. If we wanted a tax return because we asked for it for a certain amount, all right, you're doing better in revenue within your business. Okay, there's the personal loan of the equation, but do you have strong enough credit? No? Okay, you do? All right. Which one of the 2 options makes the most sense? I'll let you know. And you fill out the questionnaire form on my site, by the way, if I didn't say it, down below, where you can get a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options thoroughly broken down. Let me go to the comments right now, but that's what you'll want to do. Fill out that questionnaire. Hi, Michael. How can I get in touch with you? Can I send you an email? Can you please call me? No. Fill out the questionnaire. I have a process, I have systems, and I have automation. I'm doing this stuff, guys, and I can't be on calls every single second of the day, inbound or outbound. I'm not like that. I don't like that. I'm an introvert. There's a time and a place for this. When I'm bringing up clarity, when I'm needing something, but you have been unresponsive to all communication channels for a week or so. Like, don't put me in that position if you're not serious. Only do this if you are serious. I don't want business owners to go, well, I submitted something, and like these people do, who just end up bombarding you and trying to suck. They're called time vampires, energy vampires. I don't know if you guys have read the book from Dan Kennedy, but as a business owner and entrepreneur, you have to safeguard your energy and your time. You don't get that back. Energy, recover. Time, elapsed. Even just 5 minutes, you wasted it. Get out. And so I won't always give people that unless it is given. So my process systems and automations are going to blow your mind. It's what you want anyways, because it's going to be taking care of you in a way that nobody else can. Once you see that email that comes in from the questionnaire you submitted and I evaluate and analyze, boom, give you a big email back, and I show you how to navigate that, you'll be good. Trust me. And I don't pressure you. Need business funding for your trucking company, one of the businesses that you have? How long have you been in operation, and how many trucks do you have on fleet and on ground, right? You can have like 3 trucks that are just sitting in the shop, but how many of them are actually operational? Do you have enough people? And what are you using the funds for? So while that's being answered, or if anybody else has anything, let me transition very quickly away from the no-doc business loan part of that equation. When you're in business, nice. How many trucks? And so there is also alternative financing. If you can't get approved through the bank, then you can go through a private lender, is what I'm speaking about here. Private investors, hedge funds, venture capitalists, angel investors. Some of those are a little bit harder, especially if they're going to be asking for equitable collateral or some kind of equity line. So you have to be careful and say, well, I don't want to give them a portion of my business, a royalty, if I could do it this way instead. What you guys have to pay attention most to is not even the funding, not even the loans, not even the credit cards. Guess what that is? Have a better plan. Have A, B, and C set up. Well, if I know A is going to work, why should I? That's not the right way to think about it. You have to readjust for what could happen. Overhead and expenses. If my overhead and expenses were to do this, what would I look like here? Not just revenue, but look at where would I be positioned. So you have to look at every part of that equation and say, well, how can I get my business structure organized? You have to build a foundation correctly. And we're not talking personal credit right now, business credit being the foundation, which it is. But you have to understand, like, what are you going to be doing? What's your role in the business? Who do you have to help you if you need that? Who's going to help you market and advertise your business? Who's going to help you refer other business? How are you going to grow your clientele? How are you going to keep that same client over the long-term value? How are you going to keep them ascending, potentially buying more from you? And how are you? There's so much more that can impact your profits. There's activity ROI and there's financial ROI. So many of you who go into business are like, save me. Like, well, for one, you shouldn't have gone to go and apply there. And a lot of people don't know that because they haven't met me yet. And so once you guys come to me, you guys are going to be in a safe place. And I know that. And I was speaking with my lenders and underwriters, and they said, Michael, what you're doing and how you're bringing people in, they're coming through the best source that they can get. And we know this because we've seen a lot of other like brokerages, online marketplaces, and the advantages that you get. So be very careful. But yes, buying a truck, for how much do you need? So, and I can ask you what kind of truck that is, but Kenworth, and we can go on and on. But what you have to understand is position yourself better in the market so that you can be rewarded. Now, the 2% on all fundings is what I want to get into. So let me transition over to this document. I'm just going to use it as guidance. I already know what to say. But you can get 2% on all fundings. Let's say you were to get funding through me. And you say, well, I want to make sure I pay this off faster and cheaper. How can I do that, Michael? I know that once I get to 50% of the funds being paid off or the balance, you can be renewable for about double the amount in a lot of cases. So per case base, we have to look at it too. But you say, hey, I got $50,000. How can I pay this off in about 2 to 3 months? Well, you were given 8 months. Great. Pay it off in 2 to 3 months. Come back and get more. You're already 50% there. We can reconnect again and get you more underneath the same lender. This time, better terms, better rates. But aside from that, is you can take what you have received yourself and then share. You'll get a referral code or a link provided by myself and my team. We give it to you. You say, hey, I have another trucking business owner, or I have somebody in the construction space. in the restaurant industry. And I've done this before myself. So I go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to share this with Josie with her beauty salon. I'm going to share this with James with his construction business. I'm going to go to my family right now. I'm going to share this with them and go, hey, if you get funding, you can get 2% just by referring somebody else who gets funding. You can use that amount to then pay off the remaining balance much faster like that. And it's much cheaper. So you're not paying more on the interest over time. Principal and interest, guys. Keep that in mind. Good question. Welcome in. I went on about the no-doc business loans, how there really isn't no-doc business loans, but no-doc business funding. And with the credit line hybrid business credit card stacking program, I participated in that. Perhaps you guys have or are just barely hearing or have heard about it, but haven't taken any kind of action. And then I spoke about credit lines and that, installment loans a little bit. But business credit also is not something that I jumped on too much, but make sure you guys build that and establish it. It's most important for SBA loans. I just had to shut down a few people who could get one, but because no business credit established and not credit worthy. But that I spoke about, and then I went into a few of the transitions, being careful about who you apply to. I know it's not the most sexiest topic, guys. Like, you guys sit here and like I can go be watching some girl shake her butt or some guy picking his nose or showing me the wild and how there's ghosts in there. If you know, you know. But this is very educational for you guys to understand that you guys can take later on and say, hey, I'm getting content. I'm getting value. I'm not looking at it from a money thing. I'm looking at it from a value perspective. Literally, I've been doing this for so long that I care about impact. Like, yeah, if the money comes along with it, sure, I don't pay too much attention to that at all. I pay more attention day by day how I can change somebody's life, not only in their business, but themselves. So I'm an entrepreneur. I have other business ventures. I have an affiliate marketing. I have a couple of affiliate marketing businesses. And I just joined another venture that I'll be jumping on a little bit more and getting into that a little bit. But I also have a digital marketing agency and a few more things. What's so funny about it? But yeah, there's that Breezy Connect Cash that I would recommend you guys check out. I made a video about it already. I think I'm going to link it to you guys in the description so you guys can view more. Shouldn't be in the bio as one of the links. But once you look at that, you'll know more about it. Awesome. So I have an individual right here. I won't say her name. Perhaps you're in here watching. But this is legitimate proof, guys. I can't show you because it's confidential. But it's right here in the email. I would never lie about that. Never lie about things. I'm very honest. Again, I'm a Libra, if that says anything. I don't joke with people. I'm not like that. But this individual, I was working with her today. She reminded me that I didn't submit her email questionnaire, and she's been waiting for a little bit. And I was like, yeah, sometimes I miss one here or there, and it happens. There are some of you in here who I still have to get back to. Thank you. Please be patient with me. When you get the best, you'll finally see it when it comes through. But she responded back saying thank you. She understood the questionnaire, and she put a typo on the amount she was actually looking for and what her plans are for inventory, things that are coming up with trade shows that she's working on, and how much she would actually need for that. And she will get into the application and get it started. So I know her specific situation. Can you get funding without interest? I mean, you can get funding without being interested. I mean, everything out there has interest. Let me ask you this question. Why would you avoid interest? Just paying on principal? I mean, you would have to go a very, very alternative route in a different way of getting funding from private investors so they don't tackle on interest. But that's hugely out of reach for the majority of business owners. And the stakes are much higher. So if you're in the beginning stages, you're not a proven business, like I would say even 10, 15 years and above, stay away from all that. And it literally doesn't exist out there. So if you're looking for something that like, well, I have these business credit cards or these personal credit cards, I have them at 0% interest, but you're not using it as good debt. What's the point? You're just trying to pay off other cards, or you're just trying to use this money to pay off cards, but you're just up here. So I'll go back into this in a second, guys. Please stick with me. Give me about a minute. SBA EIDL loan updates, fraud activity, nothing new. From my insiders, nothing. I've been reaching out to them, just staying in contact with. on a personal and business level, and there's really nothing. So no open applications. There's the hardship accommodation plan, which is just about the last thing. A few things with other states like Florida, Hurricane Ian, and a few things with stabilizing homes and more. But I'll keep you guys up to date on whatever happens. Nothing right now. But I've been trying to be as consistent with that, releasing it on the channel. Ah, okay. Whether you meant it, I mean, it could be looked at as good or bad. I understand that. No worries. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. So I'm not going to hide the fact that when I say that, that can look good or bad. Usually it looks good. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about all the content that is released on YouTube, even on blogs, is it most up to date? One. Two, is it coming from a credible, legitimate source? You know them enough. You're like, yeah, I've worked with them too. It's not just saying, hey, it looks legitimate. It's actually, I've worked with them. Whether I can receive anything or not, at least I know. And they prove in themselves. Not just I viewed a piece of video and then that was it. Like you could just see mine. And a lot of people, when they see my content for the first time, even the 100th time, they know this is legitimate. I don't cuss, but I wanted to emphasize that part just to show you how real it actually is. I go into things that you don't see on blog posts, other YouTube videos. I actually break down underwriting, what today is in the market like. I'm in these meetings with lenders and underwriters in the best. I'm being very serious too. I'm not just saying that as whatever. I'm literally in these meetings and I know them. They know me very well. They know what I'm capable of doing. And they're very happy with me. Not because of the business, but because also on a personal level. I make their life easy. If you make my life hard, I'm not gonna make your life hard. It's just you're making it out to be that way. I'm like, I don't want that. But you're causing friction. You're causing resistance. You're doing things when I'm asking you a question, you can't even answer it straight. If you didn't even answer it in the first second, what are you hiding? Or if you're not hiding anything, is it hard to understand that? It's okay. It's a language barrier thing. I understand that. It's fine. I work with people of all backgrounds. I'm not judging. I'm just saying when you come to my environment, don't treat me like just anybody else. I'm not treating you that way. So why treat me? If you want to deal with somebody who doesn't know their stuff, overpromise. I'm sick of tired and saying it too, but I need to. So you hear it more and more and it makes sense. Right now, I have people who come to me who they have offers, they have contracts, and they're pre-qualification contracts. I'm like, these people are becoming savvier out there, sending you things that look like an actual offer that if you just sign the contracts, but you don't know what you're signing. You're not sure if the underwriting is even good enough. Everybody's using the same underwriters. We don't. We use the best underwriters and that are also exclusive. They don't want to work with everybody. These underwriters come to me and go, Michael, I stopped working with X, Y, and Z after we found out this or this changed in the market. So we've actually added a few more lenders that are actually more appropriate that we think you should work with. And even if they didn't show me that, I can go into it and see it myself. And we go, the reason why you want to bring people in this way is because it makes it more simpler. They get a better chance of getting better funding and so much more. So does anybody else have any questions? So aside from that, there are a lot of alternatives. I won't go into all of them right now, but you heard about EIDL, PPP, not available. Employee retention tax credit. Excuse me. You can get up to $26,000 per employee in a refundable payroll tax credit. I'm helping a lot of people do that right now. They've already received their credit and gone on their ways. Come back to me, receive more funding. If they want a business loan, a term loan in advance, an intermix of them, line of credit, whatever makes most sense to them. But you can get that. That's available. And all this information, guys, I'll leave it for you down below. And the reason why you want to go through this again, aside from it being a legitimate source and somebody who's vetted and is actually an expert, and I have all these services, and I've done all these services for a lot of businesses, if not all, it's who I am. At my core, like the majority of you in a 9-to-5 role, I've been there. I know what it is like to struggle, being underpaid, excuse me. I was never overpaid or paid right at that position that I was at, one of my last roles. Underpaid, undervalued, underappreciated, working hard mentally on the computers, financial logistics role, but I was also physically having to move things in my younger 20s. And so I then had that realization after talking to a friend of mine at lunch, and he was running a trucking business at the time, and he told me about other ways of earning an income. Starting your own business, of course, passive income streams. That's when I started to learn more about digital marketing and passive income streams, as well as affiliate marketing. I did a little bit of, like some of us maybe do, network marketing a long time ago, but it wasn't like, it never stuck with me, and I just didn't like that model. It wasn't right for me, and good thing it wasn't. The whole recruiting thing wasn't my thing. And then charging people a lot to buy into a product because of higher margins, and the product costs were outrageous. So I never got into that world much, but I transitioned away from all of it and got into the digital marketing and the affiliate marketing, helping people with their back pain. I have a health affiliate marketing business, and so humbly I've been able to do that because I had my own issues. And I'm actually sitting on an ergonomic chair. I'm sitting on the seat cushions underneath here, and I have this behind as extra padding. I have supplements, things that I've tried, and I have had a channel for that, and I still run that one. So I'll help you guys out, and I evolved over time. So I focused on those, grew those businesses, and then I transitioned into as a business loan broker expert because I was able to fund my businesses and use what I needed. Eventually, I wanted to get into that. So then I started learning more. Boom, 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 boom. Plugged myself in, made my mistakes in the beginning, and then I learned from them. And then now I'm like solidified at where I am years in doing this now. I'm a business loan broker expert. So what I do is I help businesses, small businesses, medium, large businesses, get the business financing or business loans. There's different ways of using that word and what they mean, to continue to grow, expand, and even get out of a tight pinch or build their business as a complete startup. And so through you, I'm able to also help out the economy. So thanks to you, you're able to stimulate the economy in better ways and give people more jobs, and just do a lot more for the community. There's so much more I can get into, but I have a great respect for what each and every one of you do because I also do that. Who more to get business funding from than from somebody who's been there? Second is an expert. Literally, I'm in this field every day. Before I got on here, I wouldn't have been on here, just so you know. If I did not complete my checks that I needed to in the morning, boom, 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 I did all this already. And I still have a little bit more to do, so I want to end up this video here in a little bit. Does anybody else have any questions? There she is. She completed the application. So once she does this, what I do is I go to work. So I'll go into my back office, review documents if they weren't sent to me directly. And then from there, I can start working off of what lender is best for her. So we have direct lender partnerships, I do. And then I have indirect, but are underneath a brokerage. I already have those relationships. Don't worry about that. But it's better this way because you get more flexibility and a better look, better funding. And so we don't just send your information anywhere and everywhere, shop it around. We don't do that. Other places will do that, so be very careful. And they don't normally know what they're doing too well, to a fine point. And the connection you have with the person who's sending that information, it can be lost in translation, the communication. Underwriting is bad, technology is bad. There's so much more. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go myself, and then with my team, I'm going to go find that lender who's best suited after, though, I review the documents. And so as a broker, I review. I'm not the information guy. I'm not the marketer guy, although that's what I am doing for myself because I don't have another team to do it later on perhaps, but I want you guys to hear it from me. And so you guys don't see everything else that goes on. Like if you guys only knew what goes on with what I have to do, that's why I always tell people, be patient. People check up on me and go, how's my application? And I go, it's looking good. Or, hey, I have to hear back from my underwriter. But I told you, normally we wait until 1 to 2 days to have a response back. 1 to 5 days sometimes if it is with your file, depending. And it depends on the service too. Felix, how are you doing? Have you sent me an email recently? Sometimes I miss emails, by the way. I don't do it on purpose. I just get flooded. It's like a hurricane. It's like a hurricane over here. It's like a storm. But I handled it very well. Just sometimes I miss one or two there. I would respond. I would go ahead and email me back, and once I see it at the top, I'll make note of it. I can go here really quickly. Actually, I have it right here. From November, though. Yeah, it should be the one from November. But what I would do is I would email me back if there's anything that has come up that's new that I need to look at. And because we're now in January, so I would take time for that. And my email, just so you guys know, and I'll go to the last part. I love that question. I love that. So my email, sometimes it doesn't appear here on comments. My first name, M-I-C-H, A as in Adam, E as in Edwin, L, at viral, something going viral, funding solutions with an S at the end, .com. So Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, at viralfundingsolutions.com. You guys can also go to viralfundingsolutions.com, learn more about me. You'll see my face already when you open up the homepage. And then there's a navigation menu. If you scroll down past the first button, there will be the how it works steps. And then click the button after the 3 steps, and then go through the questionnaire and submit that if you have. And if you have, again, I'll get back to you guys in a moment. It takes a little bit of time for me to put these email questionnaires. I have processes. So you submit that, I'll evaluate, analyze it, and give you ballpark ranges before anything. And you'll know more or less what you should be applying to. And this will very likely show you like this is the best option. And then I'll show you the other ones that you could or can't qualify for but are not best. So you're not questioning. You're like, this Michael guy only showed me one option. There should be a lot more I can get approved for. So I'm going to show you evidence that, yeah, you can't even get approved for this. And here's the reasoning why. And here's the best lender or the organization. And they're not going to look at you. So what do you need to do to build that? Start with this, or you have to look at doing this first. My goal for each and every one of you is to get SBA 7A 504 approved. If that's what you want. 10-year amortization, stretches out your monthly term, balloon payments if necessary, not really a lot of the times for those. For others, yes, but that's my ultimate goal. But we can't do that without a strong foundation. What's the difference between a loan broker and an underwriter? Good question. So I'll start off with this, that as the business loan broker myself, I always wanted to be an underwriter. I wanted to be that. I might evolve into a lender now that I know how it all works. But as a business loan broker, I'm the one who is the intermediary step between the underwriter and the lender. So what happens is I'll collect the documents, whatever is asked for. I do a review myself with my analytical way of thinking. And I break down what you are doing, what you're producing, you're depositing, your revenue, what actually shows on these bank statements, what shows on the profit and loss, if I need more extensive documentation, balance sheets. So in a sense, I'm pre-underwriting a file, although I'm not an underwriter per se, but I know what they're going to do because I've worked with them enough. So what's happening is I'm collecting the docs, I'm making sure everything looks good and ready to go before I can go ahead and submit it over to the right lender. I'll find the right lender to say, hey, this is the lender, this is the underwriter or underwriters, junior, senior underwriter to take it to. So I'm like that middleman, as you can call it. And I'm that bridge where I'm a consultant, not a salesman. I know if you guys are thinking we're all selling in one way or another, whether it's advances, term loans, or whatever it is, ourselves. I hate the word salesman. I hate it, or saleswoman. It just has a wrong connotation to it. I didn't grow up in that world. I went to school. I graduated from college. I went to university, and then I went also to community. I went to school for chemical engineering. I like math. I like systems. And then I transitioned over to that. I was like, it wasn't like enticing to me enough. So then I went into the business side. Although it wasn't hard necessarily. It wasn't enticing me. I liked chemistry. Chemistry was my favorite class. But what happens is I collect the documents. I do everything myself. I review it. I can give people a ballpark range. If you're doing this amount of revenue, what could it look like on your rates, your terms? What is the strategic plan? So that's what you need from me before you do anything, before you just go and apply. And then the underwriter is the person who's actually like reviewing, like doing more extensive. If I didn't already ask for a soft pull, like sometimes I can see soft pull credit reports. I don't always ask for them like I used to, but the underwriter is doing that more extensively than I am. Now I can look at some of those with them, but they can then come back to me and say, hey, after a soft pull, or if it was a hard pull, or here's what we're seeing in their credit, here's what we're actually wanting to see in their revenue or what they're actually doing. And so they're underwriting that file extensively, looking at it per detail and making sure that it is approved. If it's not approved, there's a reason, and I have that. Communicate that. The underwriter won't always communicate it with you directly. So sometimes they will, but they won't give you as much. That's the difference when you come to me too. Since I have these personal and business relationships sometimes they can share with me more than they would with somebody else. Sometimes they can't share with me certain things because that's private and I don't want to be in trouble. I don't want to be held liable for something. Even if I said it right, they just don't want to it's sensitive information. So some of it they can't give you. Let me move up here first and then I'll come back down. There are multiple ways to become a lender. There's no it's independent. It's kind of like an independent business loan broker. You would want to find first the right team, the right network of underwriters, people who are going to underwrite the file, right? You first want to make sure you have a team of brokers like myself, but you can get this money that you already have, and you can just literally go out there and team up with these individuals who are already doing this, who already have their own network. Join them, but first see how they're doing things and then get involved. Like, you can have your own money, establish your own entity online. That's how a lot of companies do it now, is they have their own business online. And so they have the website presence and everything built. You want to make sure you're underneath the laws a lot of the time to lend. There are some licenses sometimes required to get approved for it. So that's what you want to go to. It's a little bit more extensive. I've yet to go deeper into that world, but when I have more, of course, I can come back to you and know more. What's the safest way to do my security agreement for your UCC filing on one? For your SPC? What is your overall goal? What are you trying to do by doing that? There are many ways to answer that question. In the meantime, does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, but the lending process is a little bit more lenient because you're independent from a bank. You can get money from banks some ways if you have an account open with them and how you're putting money in, taking money out. But the lender is just recirculating their cash. So once they give somebody money, they're probably getting money from someone else already, or it's close to getting it back. And then they have that money and then they can just put it back out into the market for another business owner. And they can specialize. Each lender is different that specializes in each industry. See, that's a topic that's, for me, is a little bit more difficult to understand 100%. I'm going to be very honest with you. That way I don't want to give you too much on something that wouldn't make sense. But it's one thing that I'd have to understand the business and actually the direction you're trying to go into with all of this. That's something that I would have to brush up on a little bit, if I'm being honest. But for UCC filings and all of that, I know it very well. Yeah, if you've been confused. Yeah, I'd have to learn a little bit more about that part. Like UCC filings, I know all of that already and how that goes with the business loan. But for security agreement purposes and getting into the more intricacy of that, how to sign contracts and how to do all those little steps, I know that's a part of it, but I can't get too deep into that. So that's another topic for somebody who does the UCCs more in depth, if that makes sense. You'd have to go to somebody who files these and somebody who can actually dispute and take care of them better. Probably want to go to a creditor to learn a little bit more about that, get in contact with them. But like I said, I could deal with UCC filings, and it's different when you're talking about, the collateral part. So even if you have a UCC filing and a security agreement is what you're trying to take care of, if you're trying to get a business loan, just so you know, even with the UCC filing, we can still work with you. Even another collateralized lender can come in with the UCC filing. It just depends on the type of collateral that they are accepting. Real estate, of course, is the most formal way when you're talking about UCC liens. But Yeah, it's different per lender, and I've done this already before. So even with that, just depends on what type of property or what type of collateral. Depends on what or how much you want to give up. I know that for sure. But when it comes to that whole, that whole agreement part, there's more intricacy than that. So I just don't want to make sure I'm giving you wrong information. So for a trust, got it. Yeah, that's where we kind of disassociate a little bit with that. That's something that you'll have to go to somebody else to figure that part out. We don't normally or necessarily deal with that part, so it'd be a little bit more harder to say. And it's per case. Like your situation is different than somebody else's, so there may need to be more extensive look at it, higher credit, lower credit. So it's difficult to say. And because I need to brush up on that topic as well. So it's okay, guys, if you don't always know everything. Don't be somebody who says, yeah, I know everything about everything and anything. I'm not claiming that. There are just some things that I or the lender or the underwriters don't step into. Like if you even ask them this question, a lot of them would be like, huh? Like that's something you have to go deal with somebody else directly. You're welcome. Yeah, and again, I'm not being fake to you guys. I'm being very honest. So let's do about 5 more minutes. Appreciate you. Yeah. No, that's a touchy subject. I mean, with UCC filings and all that and getting business funding, I know that nature very well. Now, the other part of it, it's not like it's confusing. It might be confusing now because you don't have guidance on who to connect with and who to talk to on that. I would get in with, who you establish this under, and who you're working through. So get in contact with them, get a better understanding of it. Yeah, you want to make sure you do it right, and I don't want to give you wrong information. So it could be something that I already know, but again, I have to get more information from that, like a bigger picture. And whoever maybe it is you already are working through, who you got it from, they have a better understanding. It's like when somebody comes to me, the other day they came to me and they weren't approved for funding, not because of a UCC filing, but because they were in a default. And they were in a default with another broker or brokerage, and they wanted to get the answers from me. Now, my underwriter, they didn't have that, or they did, but they couldn't give it to me. That's some stuff they can't give me because it's sensitive. So they had to go then contact the company that they defaulted under, and then that company wasn't giving them all the information because they don't want to be held liable for something, which is true. They don't always have to give you that information. And then, so it's about going to the source who you have been doing this with. I don't think you can. You have to have the agreement. If that's what you're alluding to, with UCC filings, you have to have an agreement. It's with anything. The agreement has to be in place. And aside from business funding alone, anything has to have an agreement attached to it. When you're dealing with a UCC filing, whatever the extent of it is, how long it's been filed for, if you want to look at removing these kind of things, then we can talk about that. That's a bit different in a different sense, as opposed to a security agreement. Again, that's a touchy subject, but again, yeah. But I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, the contract, agreement/contract. Yeah, I know what you're alluding to. I know what contracts, and so. That's a subject, again, that I may have to brush up on a lot more. But in terms of the business funding world and UCC filings, that's a different topic that I really do know. It's just the contract, the agreement between the parties. And so that's something that you guys have to communicate with, making sure that you do it correctly. So does anybody else have any questions? And if I do find something, I'll let you know. You can even send me an email so it's sitting in there and then I have it. So I have a better understanding of it all, aside from what you've already told me here. But what is the main objective? What is it that if the security agreement were to go through, what then would happen? There's just a few more things that have to be asked. I can see what the problem would be, but everything else that comes after it. So I'm looking at my computer because there's a time-sensitive email I'm waiting to get. And I have to get back to her. I have to go do some work on that file. Anybody with questions? Probably 2 more minutes. Oh, here we go. So I have an... this is an example of somebody who doesn't listen. Let me make sure they did first. I'm going to see if they submitted the questionnaire like I asked them to. I don't know why people just don't listen. I know we're in a lot of pain, guys. Like, we can't get funding. Wow, I've been like this for a long time. And I get it, but you miss over some steps because you're in a hurry to do something. But let me make sure they submitted this thing, because I'm not going to help them like that if they didn't. And I don't think they did. So what I'm waiting for this individual, this guys is a prime example. So I've been speaking not only with this individual. I don't know why you guys just don't listen and do what's asked of you. But I had told this individual in a Facebook Messenger to submit a questionnaire and why they should submit it, why I do it the way that I do it. And now I'm getting a response back like, you know, help me. And like, you didn't even do the least that was asked of you. So knowing that you won't even do the least, what makes me think that you are somebody that I should be working with? Let alone we ever start an application, guess what? These are the type of individuals who end up becoming a hassle. They're the type of individuals who, gimme, are going to be checking up on you every single second. The ones who just don't get it, abandon the process, don't ever give you feedback. They don't like what they hear, so they go cold. And you don't want that. So don't put me in that bucket. So there are people who, I don't know if you've done this to me, maybe you have, but I asked you to do something about a week ago. Our next point of communication should have been that form. I probably would have already gotten it back to you. And today you wouldn't have been asking for help. Some people are just so naive, arrogant, and I don't know. In my language, we say pon atención, meaning put attention or pay attention. I don't have to say it twice. Like, I'm not a mean person. Don't do that to me. Just make sure you take care of it. I'm probably the nicest broker you're going to meet. Other people out there are going to overpromise, underdeliver you. They're going to do this to you. They're going to be talking your ears down, going over their own words. But prefer not. Okay. Just got another email. Does anybody have any questions before I close up shop? 30 more seconds. If nobody comments, I will end the video. Busy, welcome back. Have you submitted the questionnaire on my site, by the way? I know we spoke about this before. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I mean, once that form is in, I'll know more, but It's hard if people can't qualify for something. Like if you have an expectation and they're not being met, this isn't just for you. This is for everybody. I want to be very straightforward and honest with you. And if after today you guys don't take this to heart and make the changes, I don't know what will happen. I don't know if you're going to continue. You might continue down the route. The foundation, it's not built. Everybody here needs the foundation, which is their personal and business credit. But at the same time, it's the plan before all that. Personal business credit, work on improving personal credit, getting business credit established, establishing business credit, get access to business credit cards, vendor lines, or vendor credit lines. Boom, that would be ideal number one. That's like your second step to building your foundation. And then making sure from there you can grow into other services. Everybody wants this when they don't want to do this. See? Everybody wants this easy thing. And they're all in in mode of I need to survive. My business is da 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 da. Well, you should have thought of all this before. Really thought it through on how much your personal and business credit does matter. You're looking for 80,000 when you're not even going to get 1,000. But we would have had 40 to 50,000 had you have kept up your credit. You would have had business credit cards. Yeah, you can use it like we've spoken. I remember this. I know the next part. But yeah, use a co-signer, a guarantor. Have somebody that you can leverage her or their credit, right? Like we spoke about. And then be able to then have, then you can go in and apply because you're the owner. Now, you are on a joint account, you're underneath them, their trade lines over to your trade lines. Problem solved. And so, if it were credit-based with pre-revenue, right now, I don't know why people wait. Today, I've had a lot of people already starting the personal/startup loan. People who already have their funding. Somebody who just reached out to me right now on Facebook. I have to get back to them about their update. Oh, no, not that one. This one right here. Let me actually see. Let me check in with them. What I want to do here is send somebody an email. Okay. I think that's where I will end the video. Man, you end up coming at the end of the video a lot of the time. I know it's the time thing. Sometimes I do these earlier. But I think that's where I will want to end the video. Please refer to all emails. The questionnaires, I will get them back to you when I can. I've been catching up today, been doing some marketing stuff I had to for myself, but I will stay in touch. Questionnaire for those of you who haven't submitted it, and if you have, again, like I said, I'll be getting on it. I just get so busy sometimes. So that's everything. Please refer to the description down below for all information. Go to the bio for more access, and remember this, don't just apply anywhere and everywhere because shipped, shopped around, not the best. I know that. I've been there. Because you restructured the payment? And which payment is this? Or are you meaning once you get the loan, you're going to have to restructure your payments for other things? Right, on a previous loan. Okay. Yeah. And is this loan a monthly loan that you have? Is it a monthly? Is it a weekly? Maybe bi-weekly, daily? I would also like to know how it's amortized over how much time. Car loan, home loan, MCA loan, yeah. Yeah, it also depends on how long ago you received it and how much of the funds you have paid off to drop down your debt to income ratio. Yeah, that's why you don't always want to get a personal and startup loan at the same time as an MCA loan. unless you have strong enough revenue and your debt to income doesn't rise too much, then we can try to get you a little bit of the two. But yeah, that would be more of a monthly setup with the personal loan, so it would favor you. And what it does is it extends the term. So instead of having maybe something between 3 to 24 months, you end up having between 1 to 5 years. Okay, you're good. Yeah, you're at the tail end of it. So with that being said, yeah, realistically you could. If you could pay that off faster than anticipated, I would. Have little to no debt on that MCA. Maybe there's other debt. But remember that if you're using a guarantor, you gotta be careful there. So if you could, I would wait for that to get paid off first. You're already pretty much done with it. And then we can look at the personal loan and better debt to income ratio and better utilization. That's for sure. And then you'll only have one payment. It's not like you're going to have to use the personal loan and the MCA together. And yeah, this is, like I said before, you heard me say this. It's a great alternative. When you get an MCA or a cash advance or whatever it is, there's different variations, call it whatever. But people, they opt to get a personal loan because the 1 to 5 year time frame. A lot of them don't end up getting 8 months, 7 months, or end up getting a year to 2. They end up getting like 6 months with an MCA. And so they go, well, if I can leverage my personal tax return or verifiable income, and I know I made more there, then I can get a combination of installment loans, a line of credit, and or credit cards, credit union, perhaps business credit cards on top of that, personal credit cards if need be. Then you go, well, although it is on the personal side and this is that, I can get a range that's better on this. So then what you end up doing is thinking like this. The way you think of it as a true business owner is you go, even though it's a personal loan, it's underneath my personal business and personal name, well, I'll take it. Even if I can just get $60,000, I get $60,000, then I'm going to take that $60,000 and I'm going to use it for growth and expansion. I'm not just going to use it for overhead and expenses, other cars, etc. And then I'm going to take that $60,000 and I'm going to make $80,000 to $90,000 with that. So now I have cash flow in my business. That's the ultimate game. It's having more cash flow, improving your bottom line, having more cash flow, circulating every single month. And so with that cash flow, you go, hey, well, now I'm generating more in my business. I've just generated an additional $20,000 to $30,000. Now instead of getting approved for $24,000, I can get approved for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Even though I'm already in good standing, the second time around I can get $50,000, but this time I can get $60,000 to $70,000. So then you start thinking about it and you go, well, if I could take money from there and then pay off the personal loan, see how that rings the bell? The light bulb? That's the way an ultimate business owner thinks about it. They go, and I just had a business owner do that. They took about $175K, paid $100,000 they needed at least for their personal loan or whatever else they had. Boom, they're paying that off. Boom, the rest of the money they need, they're free and clear of that. They only need one thing. They already have it in. They have it in with the lender that I provided them with. And they actually got one of the two best lenders in the industry. Okay, everybody, I've overextended my time. Appreciate you guys. If you just tuned in, I have to get going. Please refer to the bio. Description, links are included. And I do have to get back. I got to go do some LinkedIn stuff. Oh, okay. All right. So I guess I'll stick around a little bit. I have somebody who's commenting. I am a little free right now, but I do have to get back on my schedule before 2. So technically I wanted to leave already. But how many passive income streams do I have? Good question. I have about 7 to 8 right now. Fully established 4 to 5. And I'm working on a few other ones. Those other 2 to 3 I'm working on right now. Like I have ventured into another one. But for those of you in here who are wondering, like, well, I'm not going to get into my backstory because I did that earlier. There's one in the bio and the link down below. You guys can learn more about me. But one great thing that I tell people is if you can't make money in your own business, why don't you just become a referral or an agent? Like, I'm a broker. You can become a broker too. You can leverage me and I'll show you how to do these things to a certain level. Depends on what you want to do, however you take it. But you can take this and say, hey, if I can help another business get funding, and I made, I don't know how much, however much you, doesn't, whatever you make, you make. So you say you make a little bit, you make a lot, whatever it is. You take that money, you can put it in your business. You're like, oh, great, I just made 30,000 here. Great. So how am I going to take that money? You can either put it into the same business that you're working on now, or the one you already have, or the other one that you're trying to fund your business. So you have to think about, like, what are other ways for me to earn an income to help my own business? You have an in right here, guys. And so you also earn 2% on all fundings, like I said, if you get your own, and then you can also help somebody else get funding. Great. Pay off your funding much faster, and it's much cheaper. Or you can become a broker / agent / referral partner, whatever you prefer, at what level you want to work on. Okay, great. You have those connections already. Why not just help them get funding? Or you can partner up with me and say, hey, I don't want to be an exact broker or an agent, Michael. I don't want to have the whole structure and business like you do. But hey, I know business owners. This guy can help them. What you do is you bring them to me and I can work out something with you. Usually what I do is the funded amounted value that I get, I give people between, let's say, maybe 15 to 22%, 15 to 25%, depends on the case. Obviously, I can't give you a lot because I do a lot of the work. But at least you get something. Like off 14,000, maybe you get 3,000. I get 14, maybe you get 3,500, maybe 2,500. Okay, great. Just for sending somebody my way and me being able to help them. So now I'm giving you an extra 2,500, 3,500, 4,500. Did that just bring a light bulb? Or did that bring up a light bulb? Are we hearing light bulbs ring now? So I have multiple streams. I don't want to get into each and every one of them. I'm going to be doing more with Bitcoin. I'm going to be doing a little bit more with crypto, perhaps. Have some friends. But yeah, the list goes on and on. Like today, I had a business owner or somebody who bought a product. Like, I can go right now. And this is, again, guys, keep in mind, I've already set up my systems. Like, I've been doing these other businesses for years. So your results could vary. No, that's a... If I've ever seen a fake email from a scammer, that's one. Scammers sending me stuff. I don't know, you guys get emails like that. Like today, I had a person buy a product, and I earned about 115 just from that one product alone. And that's just one product. There are multiple that people are buying throughout the day. It could be the same one as well. So while I'm doing this, I'm reaping the benefits of all my work that I did in the past. And it took work. Not like I just set up an ad and I just ran people into a landing page. No, I could do that, but I've actually taken the time to do the work. So for those of you in here who are like, I want to earn a passive income, but I don't want to do the work. No, I went away from that. I was getting into it. Not something I want to, maybe later on. But I didn't want to do the whole Amazon FBA, the margins and the volume. And when it gets going, it's a lot of upkeep too, and monitoring, and too much paying attention to market fluctuations, market changes, which is fine and all. You got to have the right tools and everything. But for now, I have affiliate marketing businesses, and then digital marketing agency, and a few other ones. And then business loan broker. That's my main gig. You guys are getting it from me. So from time to time, I go in there and I look up at those businesses and I make adjustments and maybe add a few pieces of content here and there. But it's already been something that's been on for a while now. Okay, 30 more seconds. All right. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for tuning in, for supporting this channel, for commenting. Even if you didn't, I'm an introvert, I know. Even if you aren't. But Look for my information down below in the description bio and all elsewhere. Keep looking out for my content I'll be releasing on the channel, on YouTube, blog, social media. Actually, I have to get back to social media. Facebook, I put up a reel. People are commenting for help. Got to go back to LinkedIn and Facebook Reels right now, and a few other channels. Responding back to questionnaires and a few more things. So that is everything from me. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will talk to you all on the next one. Bye.